Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dion and this here is the crazy troll nation of YouTube. We're not starting with chapstick because as you can see, we got a lot of stuff going on already. So the crazy troll nation is the crazy just enjoying your channel, enjoying the channels that you watch, and the troll part is not caring too much about the beauty community standards. You set the standard for yourself. Here it is about self-acceptance, self-love, embracing your natural features, enhancing them if you want to, when you want to, but not feeling like you have to, and also not feeling like you need to use a certain brand or a certain tool or a certain technique. Use whatever you want to use to get your makeup the way you are satisfied with it. I do curse on my channel sometimes because I do curse in real life sometimes. If this is your first time here, welcome. There's a lot of information down below for you to read. I do have a lot of playlists for you to browse through. But onto this video. Spring is around the corner. Today is March 15th. I believe the official first day of spring is March 20th. This will not be uploaded on the 20th because I have another video going live on the 20th, even though sometimes I do have two videos go live on the same day. I have been cutting back and slowing down though, so I haven't been doing that lately. This video is about spring palettes. Seasonal looks, seasonal palettes are challenging for troll, because this is my everyday vibe. And so when someone says, oh, this palette is great for spring, I don't really fully understand what that means, because I would wear this all year round, regardless of the season, regardless of the event I'm going to. I would tone down the lip if I was going to a wedding. I would do the eye look, but just maybe put on lip gloss instead of a black lip. And so I struggle with, this is a fall palette, this is a winter palette, this is a spring palette, this is a summer palette, this is an everyday palette, this is a wedding palette. I struggle with that because to me, a look is a look, and if you wear it, it's wearable. Having said all of that, I do try to understand other people's perspectives. And when looking at what other people consider to be spring palettes, my limited understanding of spring palettes is that it's something that looks like the outdoors in the spring. You have the bright different colors, the flowers are blooming, so the different colors of flowers, the grass is greener, that type of stuff. Maybe pastel type colors or maybe bold, bright colors. That's my limited understanding of what it is, because again, I struggle with understanding what a spring palette is. But having said all of that, I went through my collection and I pulled out what I think people would consider spring palettes. And I think I did something similar to this before, and I think it was for a collab. So ironically, out of the first three I'm going to show you, two of them were sent to me in PR. So I'm just like, do those count because I didn't buy them? And it's questionable if I would have purchased them. Anyway, the first one I want to show you, in no particular order, but just how I pulled them out of where they were stored. The Nomad Cosmetics Mount Verde Club Forest palette. And the inside does look like the outside. It is a very, very bold, colorful palette. And so I'm seeing the greens I talked about. You're seeing the colors of the flowers, you know, the bright pinks and greens. So this, I think people would consider a spring palette. And I do like this palette. I'm not sure if I would have purchased it, because even though I like bold colors, I also like to smoke it out and have that swamp water, muddy type of grunge look. And this, I can do it, but I have to put more effort into it because of the brighter tones. And also, one of my pet peeves is when different shades in a palette show up the same on my lid, and this shade and this one show up the same on my lid, and actually so does this one. So even though this is an 18 pan palette, three of the shades look the same. And there was something else in here I'm looking at that looked almost the same on my lid too. And I think it may have been this one and that one. So this shade and this one, similar but not the same on the lid, only because this is a pastelish type shade. And so, but this I think people would consider a spring palette, and I do like the palette. And some people didn't like that it looks scattered, like the colors are not organized as in family. What is the word? And what am I trying to say? the colors are not grouped according to color families. Because usually if it's a rainbow palette, it'll be like a row of the reds and pinks, and then it'll be a row of the greens and blues, and then the purples, whereas this one is scattered. You got a pink, you got the orange, you got the pink, you got the green, like it's just scattered. But for me, it helped me be more creative because I thought about what will go with what. And I typically don't even buy rainbow palettes because how many reds or blues or yellows do you need? I'm only going to use maybe one of each. And so, but I did enjoy this palette. I do like the looks that I did with it. And as I said, it did cause me to think outside of the box and to find method within the madness of how the color story appears to be laid out. And so I do like this palette. So I don't know if I would have purchased it full price, but I think I may have been really tempted if it was on sale because the color story is different and it is unique to my collection. This was also sent to me in PR from Nomad, the Fête de Provence palette. I can honestly tell you I would not have purchased this because light shades like these, oh, I just stuck my finger in it. These two right here, this shade and this shade, those types of shades show up ashy on me. And even this one here, even though it's a little deeper. So I would not have purchased this only because half of the palette would look ashy on me. I really love the look I did with these two columns because it's dark. But from here over, I wouldn't have purchased it because this side, it doesn't appeal to me. And as I said, those types of shades look ashy on me. These two looked exactly the same on my lid. This shade here, I really like, but then that's just one. So this shade and these 6, yes, if this was like a 7-pan palette, definitely. I do like the depth in this one. It turns on me sort of like a mustard. But again, we're still left with, you know, at least these 6 here that it does not look well, I think, on my complexion. But I do think people consider this a spring palette because it is the light pastelish type shades over here and you have a few deepening shades over here. And I heard a lot of people love this shade right here. That's a very gorgeous shade. So that is this one. And so I am happy that I have it. It took me a while to do a look that I'm like, wow, okay, this is bomb because of the light shades. And this is my aesthetic. This is not that. Nomad does nail the packaging because the inside does look like the outside. Another Nomad palette, just because of how they're stored. So I have my palettes mostly stored according to what the brand is. So that's why the first 3 are Nomads. This is America's Parks. And again, the inside looks like the outside. I love how they do that. I do really feel like they nail the packaging. This one I did purchase because it was different. And I do get smoke out of here. My only complaint with this palette, not complaint, but pet peeve, I guess, this entire middle row, the texture of these satins, metallics, whatever they are, they're a tad dry and a tad gritty. And even when I first received it, when I ordered it, it was that way. So it's not over time that they went bad. It's always been that gritty kind of formula. It goes on smooth though, but putting your brush in it, it feels dry and really gritty. But I do really like the looks that I was able to do with this palette. And again, I think people would consider this a spring palette because you have your greens, you know, you have these earth tones here representing grass and dirt. And these shimmers do show up like very well and they are very pretty. And it is America's Parks palette, so it represents the different parks in America, and parks represent spring, even though they are beautiful in the fall. Another palette I think would be considered spring is Natasha Denona's Zendo palette. These 2 shades here and these 3 down here are from Sunrise, because some of the Sunrise shades did not show up on me and some of the Zendo shades did not show up on me, and so I mixed it. And once I mixed it, I really love this palette. And I do mix the warm with the cool tone. Some people only do one side or the other. Y'all see the stuff I do. I mean, just put on a lab coat, call it an experiment, and just have fun playing in your makeup. But I really do love this palette. I consider this what I think people would consider it to be spring, because you have, again, like these flowery tones, and then, you know, the brown for the dirt and the green, you know, the leaves. Yeah, dirt and flowers and leaves. This one, to me, this is a grungy palette, but to me, it looks like what I think would be spring, because you have your grass down here, you have your butterflies up here, you have like Bambi in the middle. Like, this is just hella colorful, and the inside does represent the outside. I don't mind that it doesn't have a mirror, because this is just gorgeous artwork here. And I see the grass tones, the pops of color. If you want to deepen it, you can use this one. But if you wanted to stay neutral for spring, if you do the light ethereal looks, just these two top rows, and use this black on your upper lash line. I've only used this, I think, twice. The first time I used most of the metallics in here, and they all creased on me. And so I keep saying I'm going to use it again just to see, but I haven't yet. There's just other things I've been using that I know I'm going to enjoy. And I do really like the look I did. So it was unfortunate that they creased. This I purchased on sale for $20-something. I have seen it either at TJ Maxx or Marshall's for $15. And so if this is your color story, I do recommend it for that price. And no one else I have not heard anyone else say that the metallics in here or the satin in here crease, but I've only heard or seen like 3 other people use this palette, and one hated it and one loved it, and the other one was like, oh, the look was nice. So I don't know. This one is a grungy one. Teresa's Lethal. I was going to say Teresa's Dead, which is her YouTube channel, and this is her palette collab with Lethal Cosmetics. I consider this a spring grungy palette because you're going to get a little smoke. You have the lighter tones, which are iffy on me because sometimes, as I said, they make me look ashy. Like this one, and this one is a shimmery tone. I don't know if it's dual chrome or not, but these shades tend to look ashy on me depending on where I put them. I can lay them down and then layer something on top of it, but I don't always want to have to do that. I do like the looks that I use with this palette. I need to use it more. I've only used it twice, I think, and I did one look on one eye and one on the other. I really love Lethal's formula. But this, I am seeing, you know, the green and some flower shades in here, and, you know. So I consider this what I think people would consider a spring palette. And I know that makes no sense to keep saying I consider this to be what I think people would consider. That's part of my charm. I speak troll. And so welcome to Troll 101. This right here definitely, I think, is a spring palette. This is Natasha Denona Jubilee palette I purchased from the BoxyCharm shop. Because you have your light ethereal looks, you can deepen it with this. And this is just a gorgeous springtimey shade. Just a light something. And so I don't even know what to say. Can y'all tell I'm really struggling here? Like, I'm trying to be on trend and do stuff that other people doing. This to me is a dark smoky spring palette that I would use all year round because it's dark and smoky. But if you just wanted to keep it light ethereal, neutral, or nude, you have these shades right here. And if you want to do like a little quad grunge spring moment, because this is a bright shade and I think most people associate spring with bright colors, and so that's why this is in here. This is a custom palette I made from MAC. I have a couple of them, and then I went on a journey creating palettes from Lethal. And so this is what this one looks like, and the same deal as the MAC one. You have your greens and you have some of the earthy tones in here. I did looks with this palette in rose, and then I think I went back and mixed it up. So the first look was the top row, which was green, and it was really nice. Middle row and bottom row, those looks were similar, and I think it's because I did this, which turned a pink on me, and then a purple, and then I put this for the next look, and then I think this one. So these two are similar, and this and that one is similar, even though this one is a matte. But anyway, this top row, these greens, I think people would associate with spring because you have your grass colors, and the grass grows over dirt. So that's that palette. This one definitely, these 4 Lethal shadows came in the mystery bag from Lethal. And these are all satins or metallics. I think one of them at least is a dual chrome, but these are just light ethereal shades. They show up really well. So if you just want a bright pop of something, you can just take something like this, just one, and just put it on your lid, and that can be your look. And so that is that one. The other one, I don't know what kind of palette to say this is. This is Pat McGrath Mothership number 10, Moonlit Seduction. This is what I think people would consider an everyday palette if you like light ethereal looks. I do not get variety from this palette, and I'm on a mission to grunge it out. So we're going to see what I can do with this. I do like the looks that I did with it. It's just the same type of look. This is my vibe, and this didn't really give me that. And when it did, I had to work for it. And in one of the looks, I laid this as a shadow base, and I think I might have put this on top of it. And the other eye, I put this all over the lid, and it looked the same as this topped over that. So I'm like, what was the point? Like, okay, I did extra work and it looks the same. So that was very disappointing, but the looks were nice. I don't regret buying it. I keep telling myself there's a time and a place for it, but where I don't know. And so part of me keeps saying that. I think I'm trying to convince myself to keep it. Again, I do like the looks that I did, but if I just want something light and ethereal, I can do that with other palettes I have. However, I do really enjoy Pat McGrath's formula. I need to be in the mood for her chunky monkey shades. This one in particular, super chunky as hell monkey. But the sponge tip applicators are the saving grace for the chunky monkeys. I just have to be in the mood for them. And so I don't mind them. I just need to be in the mood for them. And I did like the looks that I created with this palette. But because people consider this an everyday neutral nude ethereal palette, I think this will appeal to a lot of people. And so whether it's spring or not, I don't know. But I thought it was worth mentioning because I do think a lot of people would like that. So that is it for this video. Let me know what you think of what I think y'all would think are spring palettes. Why are my clothes always crooked? Like, it's always like, I think maybe because I sit like that. I'm trying to work on my posture, especially on this stool, because I'm tempted to just like slouch. But yeah, I ramble too if you're new here. Hello, hi. So let me know what you think about these palettes. Let me know also down below, what do you associate with spring as far as colors? When I think of spring, I just think of allergies. I think of pollen and light green, yellowish dust all over my vehicle. I have horrible allergies. And so people are like, oh, spring is coming. I'm just like, okay, give me a box of tissues right now because I'm gonna be held hostage in my house by the pollen. But so yeah, I'm not a springy person, but that's my own issues. Troll is sensitive. But anyway, I'm gonna go. Thank you for being here. And look at my shirt again. Like it just automatically just goes. I'm gonna go. Thank you for being here. As always, self-acceptance and self-love. That is the crazy Troll Nation way. And crazy too that sometimes I forget what I'm saying. But yeah, you'll see me soon. I got to go.